I don't blame her. I feel at war with myself constantly. Do I spend my time on my students? Do I spend my time in my studio? Oh, wait, that report's got to get done. Now, this isn't different for anybody else, and I'm not saying, oh, poor me. This is all of us. But the upper administration needs to understand that all of these reports are wonderful, but part of it is that we talk about retention, we got to have retention. Well, there isn't a lot of listening to the faculty who are in the trenches in terms of retention. And there's not a lot of respect back and forth that I'm seeing happening. And that is so disheartening to me. And that's it. I will, that's it.
Just to say ditto about all of that.
Yeah, speaking of ditto, I just want to commend Barbara for everything that she does do in the department that she's not paid for. And I'm sure that her chair appreciates it. I can tell you that I would not be able to get my job done on a daily basis if it weren't for Linda coming out of her office to field some small comment from a student. No question is too small for our faculty members. And that's the lecturers, it's the part-timers. They've really been amazing when we've had trouble with staff. They've really stepped up, including our student workers, to step up and do what they're not paid to do. So I just want to commend Barbara and the others. I would like to, if you would allow me, to change slightly and speak in favor of the alternative plan. I understand and I agree with Barbara's concerns that it was put together so quickly. I think that it had to be. I was not a member of that committee. I think that it had to be in order to counter the one that we all found so problematic and faulty. What I like about the plan that our talented students are putting back up there, yay, we can't pay them very much, but we appreciate them. They know that. What I like about this is, yes, it does add another associate dean. I say one other associate dean because, I mean, it's not impossible. Like I said, I wasn't part of this, but it's not impossible that maybe our assistant dean might be able to move into one of those. And obviously, I'm not saying how things should happen here, but what I like about this is it keeps departments together. And it keeps chairs there so that our students have something to identify with. I don't know about you when you were undergrads, even as a grad student, we didn't identify with the college, maybe to the university to a certain extent, but we identified with our departments, you know, where we went to see our profs on a daily basis. So whatever we can do to keep the daily work that people are paid for, at least some people are paid for, even if it's release time for class, which is one of the things we can do. This keeps the leadership closer to the students. And the associate deans, by the way, they are in the trenches as well already. They're there for us. They help us when we have the problems, when we need the staff. They advocate for us with the dean. And so having them here would be a way to help the students, as everyone's been saying, help the profs put together interdisciplinary programs. Latin American studies needs to be looked at again. And we applaud people in other fields who learn to speak the languages of the places that they are studying. That's very important. We also need to put a film studies group together so that those of us who are in other departments can work with our colleagues in film. We're not able to do that. But with a structure like this, maybe we would be able to work more interdisciplinarily, in a more interdisciplinary fashion than we can now. And we certainly will not be able to if we're stuck inside of a school called the human condition, which I really need to say is embarrassing also. Thank you.
I was one of the people who worked on this, and I stand by it. But I would like to say one thing. I think we have a faculty that is reaching exhaustion as far as service is concerned, and that is really cutting into our research and into our ability to think creatively about the future of our college and our students' futures and so forth. In a minute, I would trade these 3 deans for 50 new faculty members. I mean, I think I just think that if you've got new blood, if you've got people coming in, if you've got people who aren't exhausted by one big idea after another that falls flat when the administrator leaves or whatever happens, that you know, people go into our fields because they love what they do and they love to teach. They have the energy for that. They have the creative, all kinds of creative possibilities. I really believe it comes from faculty. Adding administrators, I think, is a kind of cheap solution, which is problematic in some ways. But I think what we're really starved for is junior faculty on the tenure track.
My name's Linda Schuler, and I'm a lecturer in English. I've been at the University of Toledo in one capacity or another since 1973. And in that time, I have seen administration grow exponentially while the people who actually do the work are being cut. One vice president is being paid, what, the same as 10 secretaries or 12 custodians, and yet when budgets have to be reduced, who goes first? As a lecturer, I'm not seeing in either one of these plans just how this filters down to my classes. All I'm seeing here is increases in administrative costs that will allow the administration then to argue at contract time that they don't have any money to give us any raises. Meanwhile, caps on classes have been rising. Already, English composition classes are capped at, what, 23? Where the National Council on Teaching English recommends 18 as a maximum for effectively handling composition classes. What this means for me is that I routinely read over 400 papers a term because I teach 4 classes. And yet, I am routinely told, you really don't actually deserve a raise because you just teach. And how is that just? I thought the whole goal of it, I had thought the whole goal of a university is to teach, primarily. But apparently not here, because other things are more important and deserve reward to a much greater degree than teaching. So I'm not seeing in any of this just how this enhances what I do or what I'm charged to do or what the students are going to receive through any of this. All I'm seeing is more money going to things that don't really have much to do with me or with my classes or with the students I teach. So I'm not really seeing what the goal of any of this is, and I find the administration's approach to all of this disingenuous at best because they keep claiming that all of this is supposed to be in the students' best interests. But nowhere in anything that I read about change is there anything dealing with the students' best interests.
Lawrence Anderson here. I want to thank all of you for making those comments because that really points to the issue that has to be fleshed out in any kind of plan like this. Every I has to be dotted, not every, but almost, and it really does have to get down to the students and be student directed. And perhaps we didn't get that